Project Looking Glass was a government operation to serve the elite class, to look into the future for the purposes of orchestrating the current state of being to shape whatever future they wanted. They could control the variables once they viewed the future to ensure that certain outcomes played out. But what they saw horrified them. They did not like what they saw in the future. And no matter how they tried to manipulate it, there was no future outcome that served them. What they saw was all possible timelines led to a convergence. Meaning that no matter what timeline they rode, no matter what option, there was only one outcome. And that outcome is light wins, and the ruling elite class is exposed and destroyed. That's what they saw that terrified them. And they tried and tried to punch as many holes through time and space as they could. That is what is going on with CERN. Trying to orchestrate or work out some other outcome. But there is no other outcome. There is no other outcome. That's the problem. But what we are living through now, this chaos that we're living through now, is their final attempt to maintain control. These are their death rattles, because it is all falling apart, and there is nothing they can do about it. And they already knew, they already saw this was coming. So it's sort of a no-holds-bar fight now. They have nothing to lose, and they have to try everything they can think of, but there is no workaround to this situation because light wins. So I mentioned that to bring your awareness to, we are in the middle of a psyop right now. This is a psychological operative that we're living through right now. This is part of their strategy. This psychological operative is designed to make us feel helpless, hopeless, powerless, defeated. That's how they want us to feel. That's what they want us to believe. They want the current system to stay in place because they're the ones in control right now. They're the puppet masters. They want things to remain the same. And they want to dupe us into also holding on to the status quo. We have to let the system fall apart. We have to let the system crumble because they are the ones running the system and their time is over. So get your head in the game. Understand what is happening. Understand that when the world seems like it's falling apart, our governmental system seems like it's falling apart, when it seems like sanity has left the planet, this has to happen. This is part of the convergence. All of these wrongdoings, all of this evil has to be brought to light. And all these systems that have supported and housed and shielded these evil people, those systems have to come down. They have to come down. Don't fight for them to stay in place because you are fighting for the elite to stay in power. We have to let the collapse happen. So, as we move through this chaos and uncertainty and uncomfortableness, remember, this is part of the convergence. This is what is supposed to be happening. And the outcome is light wins. There is only one possible outcome. There is no other outcome. The only possible outcome is light wins. And they know it.
Shalom, shalom. This is the brother Mawam coming back with another sit down, and Lord willing, it's edifying. Want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Harakak Wadash, and double honors to the old apostles, the great millstone, rule and teach well, and honors and salutations to the men of the Lord doing the same and teaching the same. All right. Okay, and you know, we beginning with the elder apostles, great millstone, down to the least of us. We've been new, you know, beginning with the elites of Esau, Edom. You know, the illuminated ones, the 13 banking families. All right, that run the world. Okay, you know, we've been new. The gates of the nobles. They was trying everything in their power, you know, to stay in power. Okay, and they already know they didn't tamper, you know, on the left hand side, you know, they didn't tampered into spiritual power. Okay, on the left hand side, you know, because these elites, you know, they're high level witches and warlocks. Okay, you know, and they do a lot of satanic rituals. Okay, you know, they do a lot of high level satanic rituals and, you know, blood sacrifices and all this. You know, that's why a lot, you know, millions of children go missing. All right, etc., etc. You know, you know, but Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, see everything, and the Lord is going to destroy Esau and Babylon the Great America. Okay, and ultimately, you know, the Edomites is going to be put into captivity along with the other heathen nations in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, you know, so the outcome that these elites saw and know, and you know, that's why Revelation 12:12, they're coming down with great wrath because they know they have but a short time. Okay, and you know, we've been knew that and been saying that everything Esau is doing, they're trying to remain in power and they're trying to gain more control. You know, that's why you know, they're bringing a great reset. All right, that's why on the Georgia Guidestones, you know, these elites had their own commandments of how to, you know, keep power. All right, and, you know, ultimately have total control. Okay, and the one way that's gonna give them total control is by excuse me, is by you know, commencing the Great Reset, the New World Order, and forcing the mark of the beast, the RFID chip, and that Neuralink on humanity. Okay, but, you know, let's go to Matthew 24. You know, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah is not going to allow them, you know, to fulfill their enterprise. Okay, so right, and I'm gonna get that, Lord willing, next. So right when they you know, right when they about to fulfill their enterprise, you know, the Lord is going to bring them down. You know, so they're not even going to, you know, and a good example would be, you know, someone sitting at a dinner table, all right, and they're eating their food, okay, and before they can finish their food, you know, and sit to digest it, you know, all hell break loose. Okay, you know, so that's basically what's going to happen, you know, to these elites. Okay, you know, so they're the nuclear missiles was not in the playing cards of these elites. Okay, Yahweh Shah and the angels coming back in the chariots, the so-called UFOs, was not in the playing cards of these elites. Okay, you know, the spiritual power that Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah is going to give his elect men was not in the playing cards of these elites. Okay, you know, so it's so much that it goes beyond Esau's level of understanding and power. Okay, because what Esau doing, he's you know, he's playing inside of the chessboard of the Lord. So Esau think he's in control and whatnot. Before I get this one, I want to go to Daniel. All right. Esau thinks he's in control and think he running shit, but really you playing into prophecy. Okay? You elites, you're playing into prophecy, and you don't even know it. And Salakia, they do know it, but they're trying to offset it. Okay? And they can't. All right? So this Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. That's right. So the Lord controls what goes on this earth. What goes on in this realm. Okay? So Esau, you're not in control. Yeah, the Lord let you rule this earth for a certain amount of time, but the Lord is about to bring you down. Okay, and establish the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so let's go back. Matthew 24:21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. Right? So, the Lord is going to shorten, Jacob's trouble. All right? The Lord is shortening these last days, okay? Salakia, excuse me. Okay, the Lord is shortening these last days. That's why time is speeding up. The days are going by super fast. Okay, like today, what time it is? It's already 9:38. Okay. Slacking. And I probably woke up like 2 hours ago, but it just flying. Time is flying by. Okay. And I know you are the men, women, and children of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, you notice the same thing. Okay? So the Lord is shortening the time, speeding up prophecy for the elect's sake. Okay, and Lord willing them of the elect number. All right? So Esau doesn't have enough time to complete, their new world order. Okay? So this Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that they have but a short time. All right? So they about to come down with great wrath. And they know they have nothing to lose. Okay? Excuse me. All right? They know they have nothing to lose. Okay? That's why the Esau is going to go all out, for their new world order and try to remain in power. Okay, so let's go to Isaiah 47, and I'm going to start at 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. The loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. Right. And that's all the elites do. They get their power, on the left-hand side, from the spiritual demon Satan. But guess what? Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, is going to give Satan the orders to step back, to stop helping these elites. Okay? Okay, and it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? These are the thoughts, you know, in the words of the wicked. Okay? Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. This is talking about Babylon the Great America. Okay? The headquarters of Esau. Alright? Okay, and this sudden destruction is talking about nuclear destruction. Okay, the nuclear missiles is gonna, you know, destroy Babylon the Great America within, you know, 1 day, 1 hour. Okay? Okay? Everything, once those nuclear missiles are flying, everything is going to happen fast. And even before that, you know, like Elder Apostle Tahar said, after the mark of the beast is made mandatory and forced on, you know, humanity, the prophecies is going to move, you know, super fast. You know, triple fast. Okay? It's going to move super fast. Okay? So, that's why, you know, we always say, you know, these elites, they need to hurry up with the mark of the beast and just go ahead and push it. You know, they started trying to, you know, deceive and distract. They putting out a bunch of distractions. They need to just go ahead and make the mark of the beast mandatory so we can get the fuck out of here. Because they scared. The elites know once they do that, they know their kingdom is going to fall. Okay? You know, so they wasting time. You know, so it says, therefore shall evil, Salakia, verse 12, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels, let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. That's right. You know, so none of their you know, none of their news, their media, that's not going to prepare them and save them from what's to come. Their witchcraft, you know, their magic, okay, their rituals, all the spiritual wickedness that these elites be doing and commencing behind closed doors, all their symbolism, all their satanic symbols, none of that shit is going to save them and protect them from the judgment of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah that's coming. Okay? And they're weary because none of the shit is working. They doing all this wickedness, okay, all this, you know, blood sacrifices, you know, you know, all this deception, and it's not working. Okay? So all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah, because these devils need to fall. Alright? You know, and you know it's bad when Edomites, when poor Edomites, you know, is speaking against their own leaders, the gates of the noble. They speaking against their own elites. Okay? So it says, Psalms 37, and I'm going to get straight to it. Psalms 37 and 13. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. That's right. They see their day is coming. Their end is near. Okay? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay? So all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. What a time to be alive. Okay? You know, you're living in the transition period, okay, from the end of Esau, and Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, so you're literally living in the last days, the end of the end, and you're living in that transition period from this time period to the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so it's going to be a beautiful beautiful transition to watch and be a part of. Okay, so Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to end it and give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Harakakbadash. Double honors to the old apostles, great millstone, rule and teach well, and honors and salutations to the men of the Lord, doing the same, teaching the same.